The rear wheel variant of the Cybertruck is now available, and you know what? That's the one you've been waiting on. Man, go get your Cybertruck. Yo, welcome back. I appreciate every single one of you. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me. Now, you're gonna have to hear me out on this one because yes, I have the all-wheel drive Cybertruck, but Tesla officially launched the rear-wheel drive variant, and it's some controversy around it, but I'm gonna break it down for you, and I'm gonna let you know why that might be the one that you need to get. And I'm gonna be 100% real with you guys. It's your money. You do what you want with it. Nobody can tell you otherwise, right? You work hard for it, so the decision is really yours. It's $69,000. If you qualify for that tax credit, $62,000 for a Cybertruck. Obviously, it's not the same Cybertruck as the all-wheel drive, or not even close to the Cyber Beast. But we're gonna talk about some of those things and some reasons why, you might wanna get it. If you start thinking about other options out there, you can get a used Cybertruck closer to that price. You can get a Rivian, used Rivian. You can get a used EV truck around that same price. But, do you want to do that? But for me, here's the biggest thing. I am so surprised how many of you have not used Recurrent. Recurrent sponsors my channel, but I talk about them because they are a valuable tool, a valuable resource. Because first of all, it's free. Signing up for Recurrent is free and it's safe. They don't sell your data at all. But here's some of the benefits of using Recurrent. Hear me out. If you have an EV already, you can monitor your battery life, your health of your battery, which is the most important and expensive part of your vehicle, right? Lots of information that's valuable to you, the owner of an electric vehicle. It's free. The next thing is, if you have an EV and you're gonna sell your EV, you can sell it for more money because you have that Recurrent battery report that shows the health of your battery. Because, it's not just about the odometer reading when it comes to electric vehicles. It's about how healthy that expensive battery is. Trust me, I know, because I bought a Model S 2013, and the day I got it home, the battery was junk. It had no Recurrent battery report. When my brother bought a used Tesla, he checked Recurrent to see if the VIN was available and to see the battery health before he bought it. So it had 70,000 miles on it, but that's not as important as seeing how healthy that battery is. It's free. They're great people over there. So click the link in the description. I am so surprised how many of you do not use Recurrent. Back to the rear-wheel drive model. First of all, options are great for everyone. There's way more features on the all-wheel drive version of the Cybertruck. Way more features. Some would call it better, but it is $10,000 more expensive. And you might say, for $10,000, you might as well upgrade, right? You might as well go big or go home. Well, I'm just gonna compare this to my second Tesla, which was the least expensive Model 3. It was the Standard Range Plus. I could have gotten the Standard Range, but I at least wanted the Plus. The Standard Range Model Plus, and the same argument could have been said about that. You could have said, well, just get the long range. You should get the all-wheel drive. Yes, you can always spend more and get more. And the price difference might not be that different. I can't even remember. I think it would have been $5,000 or $8,000 more for me to upgrade, but I didn't want to spend that much, right? You may or may not want to spend the extra amount of money. You may not have the money, but more importantly, you might not want to put it into Tesla, give it to Tesla. You might want to use it on something else. So if you were, and there were a lot of people who signed up to get the single motor Cybertruck when they first announced it, when they first unveiled it, a lot of people did. I'm in the forums all the time. I've read it, and this is where I got most of my information. Twitter has some as well, but I read on the forums, and some people are interested in a single motor. For one, the price, but two, for what they use it for. Having the two motors is great, but you might not even need them. You might live in an area where you're not always off-road, or you might not even want to take it off-roading. I only took it once so far. I mean, I loved it, but for you, you might not even use that. So that might not even play a role. So if you're that person, you might just say, you know what? I want a Cybertruck, and I don't need all the other features and capabilities. Like, I didn't need it for my Model 3, my first Model 3. I'm gonna talk about each thing that you're lacking, what you don't have. So let's break it down. All right, so with the all-wheel drive, you get less range. So with the rear wheel drive, you will have more range. They're saying about 360. I've heard 350, but they're saying about 362. And you know, you get more range. That could be a benefit for you. But I think one of the biggest things that you don't get is that power tonneau anymore, right? You do not get a power tonneau, which is great. That vault, I mean, I feel like so many things are safe in here. My spare tire safe in there. And it's a cool feature. Yes, it is something else that can break, but this is really dope. I love having it. But as I look around, when I first got this, I said, you know what? That is crazy that the Cybertruck came with this at that price point, because most trucks don't. Most trucks, you have to buy a tonneau separately anyway, right? So the base model doesn't come with this. So you won't even have that. You can spend $750 and get a soft tonneau like most trucks have out there in the world anyway. So yes, that's a cool feature to have, but you might not even need it. You might like having your bed open. Just drive around and look at all the trucks out there, right? A lot of them don't have anything covering them. And some, you know, have a hard tonneau or a soft tonneau, but anyway, a roll-up tonneau, all right? But if we stay with that bed, also, they say you get different lights in here. The lights are pretty dope, but they say you get different lights. Look at a lot of trucks out there, they don't have the same kind of lighting. You don't get the L-track, which is a bummer. On the real, I love having the L-track, but again, that's a premium feature. It is a premium feature. You don't get that at all. So when it comes to tie downs, you're gonna have to just use the ones in the bed. If it comes with that, I don't even know. You might be able to buy those separately. But you know, it's gonna be, these make it more convenient to tie things down, and I do use them. So, you know, that's something to think about. And of course, you know, I can attach different accessories to it, like these molly panels. You won't be able to do that, but I'm sure somebody's gonna come out with some kind of alternative. But, you know, for now, you won't have those, or at least from the factory. Also, the payload is lower. But again, if you're buying this for, you know, your daily driver, you might not even use the bed that much anyway, and it might be nice to have. And some people might say, well, why not get a Model Y? And you can use the truck. It's not the same as having a truck, all right? Let's just be real. It's not the same. And I don't know. If I didn't have this all-wheel drive variant, and I didn't even need all the capabilities of the all-wheel drive, who knows? I might come in and say, yeah, that rear-wheel drive is perfect for me. Right, the casual truck driver who needs the bed when I need the bed, who needs to pull whenever I need to pull, not very often. That went down as well, I think to around 7,000 versus 11,000. I mean, 7,000 is still respectable, but it's not as high as 11, obviously. But those things are, you know, some of the main things. And again, oh man, you spend 10,000 more, you're getting all that. True. But everybody doesn't want to or can't spend 10K. I see this no bed sub trunk. Ooh, that's another one. And we'll know officially when it comes, but this sub trunk, I do use it. I like having that extra storage. You know, I go hooping and I got some chargers and stuff in here. But again, you know, extra storage is nice, but you don't have that. I used it once for an ice cooler, and I wouldn't do it again. I'll just take a cooler. It was just too messy, too much. But, oh, I almost forgot, no outlets. And you don't get these bed outlets, and that kind of sucks, though. I really do like using these. I have used them, I do use them. They are coming out with an adapter that would allow you to plug in here and get energy from here. It's like $80. So you can still use outlets or use power from the battery, but this is cool. This is convenient. We got a 240 and we got two 110s, and I don't know, that's something else they took away. I don't know how much work you're going to do, how often you will use it, but again, for $80 you could have some of that functionality right there. All right, that's another big one. Now the other thing are the wheels. These are the Cyber wheels, and they come with those Cyber aero covers, and these are the maybe Cyber tires, I don't remember what you call them, but these are cool and they look cool, but this is also for aesthetic purposes. You come with some wheels that don't look that great, and honestly you can always change out the tires and wheels But honestly, that's aesthetic and some people don't care. Just like with my least expensive Model 3, I got the cheapest, the cheapest aero covers, which are kind of ugly, and I just swapped them out. They're aero covers. And I almost guarantee you, with those 18-inch wheels, there's gonna be a company or a few companies that are gonna come out with an aero cover that's gonna make it look better, because they look kind of weird, I'll just be honest. But if, again, I look at all the Model Ys and Model 3s out there in the world, and some people just like the aero covers, and some people just care about the range and efficiency. They don't only care about look, so that might be you as well. But here's one of the things that I will say that I would miss. No air suspension on the rear wheel drive. Now, the Cybertruck, the all-wheel drive and Cyberbeast, I heard, I haven't been in one. The ride comfort is unbelievable. Air suspension is unbelievable. I was on full self driving yesterday, and then there's a dip in the road, and I was coming up kind of fast on it, and I remember thinking, oh man, it's not even slowing down for it, it's not even slowing down. It rolled right over that, and I was like, whoa, that air suspension is legit, right? I hardly felt anything. I was like, man, this is a beautiful ride. It's comfortable for a truck, probably the most comfortable truck. I don't know, I haven't driven all of them. But what I'm saying is that's a great feature to have. And of course you can raise it and lower it, press of a button or from the app. So that's a dope feature. But again, you might not need that. I don't have air suspension in my Model 3. It is a nice ride, but nowhere near this. And the older 3NYs, even more rough, but I would expect it to at least have a nice coil suspension that is somewhat comfortable, but it won't be as close. So that's one for me where I'm like, but again, after experiencing this, after having this, it would be hard for me to go back. But if you just go and test drive that rear wheel drive, you'll be in love, right? Not even having on your radar spending 10K more, you might fall in love with it. So I won't knock that. Check it out. When I went and test drove a Lexus IS 350, I didn't even test drive the 250 because I knew if I went down and test drove the 250, I would have been like, nah, man, I got to get the faster model. And that's just how it is. And also they said no rear light bar. You might or might not care about that. Mine's blocked anyway by this shield. But I don't know, again, that's an aesthetic thing. So as far as exterior, I can't remember if there's anything else like big deals. At least they kept that powered frunk, at least as far as we know. That's really cool. But as far as the exterior, I mean, it's still gonna look like a Cybertruck, and it's still gonna, when you walk up to it and look back at it, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, right? So this is me. This is me on a regular. Boom, my clothes, I'm walking away. I'm going to wherever I need to go, and I'm like, got me a Cybertruck. So it's still gonna look like a Cybertruck. It's gonna feel like a Cybertruck, not the all-wheel, but it's gonna feel like a Cybertruck. So, but let's go on the inside. If we just look at the back, you will not have this rear screen, which my kids love. But again, that's a premium feature. That's a luxury that a lot of people don't have. But for 10,000 more, you can have all that. We get it. But you might not need that. What if you don't have kids? What if you don't have people in your back seat? What if it's just you, right? So you might not even care about that, all right? And speaking of having people around or in the car with you, in the cabin with you, they have textile seats on that rear wheel model. These are the faux leather, or I should call it vegan leather, or whatever they call it nowadays. And they're comfortable, they're nice. These Hummer has textile seats, and that gives it a different vibe for sure. It definitely feels like a little more, honestly, it feels a little more, not functional, but a little more heavy duty, a little more gritty. Like, all right, I'm gonna use this truck, it's gonna get dirty. These give it more of a premium, luxurious feel and look. And it's really what you're going for. You still get this light bar, you still get all that. You still get this huge screen. You still get Tesla software. You still get full self-driving. You still get, as far as we know now, steer-by-wire. You still get the rear wheel steering, as far as we know right now, right? So it still will feel like a Cybertruck. You still get a bunk camera, rear view mirror. Of course I added this aftermarket. But you still get most of the Cybertruck things that make it Tesla, make it a Cybertruck. Like I did with my Model 3, I still got most of those things. Now, I talked about the audio on my Model 3, how it's not the premium audio. The audio on the Cybertruck is amazing. 4 subs, 15 speakers. I mean, it sounds dope. Probably one of the best sounding vehicles I've ever been in. They did cut all that in half. You got 2 subs. You got 7 speakers in the rear wheel drive model. And that's not bad, really, because, man, my Model 3 is really lacking. So I can imagine it does sound better than, you know, the cheapest Model 3s, but it won't sound as good as this. They said you don't have active noise cancellation, so you might hear more road noise. You might, you know, it'll be a little different. But again, if you don't experience this, you might not even miss it. And if you do experience this, you might not care enough to spend $10K on it. All right. What else? Oh, no HEPA filter. I love HEPA filters. I have them in my Model X. I have them in this. In my Model 3, don't have it. But guess what? We just suck it up when we're in it. It's not. I mean, most vehicles don't have HEPA filters. This is a premium feature as well. You don't get that. You don't get ventilated seats in the front. I love ventilated seats. This model was my first Tesla with ventilated seats. And then I got it on my Model X, right? But originally it didn't have it. And I had it on my old Lexus, which is really cool. And I do like it. But you only have heated seats in the front here. No heated seats in the back. But again, you might not care about who sits in the back or if no one sits in the back. So you might not care about that. But having cooled seats is nice. And there's still something else about the headlights. They said something about the signature lights in the front. I don't know if that's the light board. We don't really know. But I'm going to just say it like this. I'm going to say it like this. It is a Cybertruck. It's the least expensive Cybertruck. It's not $39,000 like they initially unveiled. But, of course, that was a long time ago. All the prices have changed. And I'm not saying that the rear-wheel drive is the best version. I'm not saying that you should get it. I'm saying that it might be the best thing for you, right? You need to determine that. You need to figure that out. You need to say, like, you know what? Let me stay off of social media because, you know, that can always be negative. That can always be like, you know, oh, I can't believe you're getting that cheap model. Who cares, right? Who cares? This is you. This is your world, right? The least expensive Cybertruck might be right up your alley. If you can live with all those things or without all those things, then you should definitely look into it. And it might be the right one for you. So again, if you do decide, you know, I have links, of course, in the description to get you I think it's 3 months of free FSD or something like that. But, you know, it's still something. And of course, man, y'all need to get on Recurrent. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Let me know how you feel. Of course, you might be like, $10,000, just pay $10,000 more. You'll be way happier. Yes, but you might be way happier having that $10,000 in your pocket too. Thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And don't forget, Cobra told you. All right, y'all.